Yeah.
All right. Yes.
All right.
I'll add
Tony,
him
you want to? Yeah, somebody add him in.
Yeah, I'll bring him in. You want to do?
I just brought him
I
in if you want to play with the
what?
cameras.
I don't need to play with anything. Jimmy Korderas is here. Yeah, I think that's the wrong layout, by the way, but we'll get that fixed.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey,
got a
Jimmy,
name
welcome
change.
to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. Well, I got a name change, I see.
No, it's just a couple of us don't know how to use the new technology yet. Jimmy Korderas, how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Good.
So we're live, right? This is live.
We are live. We are
Yeah,
live.
we are live,
Yeah.
man.
All right. We're live, pal. Put out that cigarette. All right. Sorry. Just so you know, I got Raw in the background. Just, keeping an eye on things. See, now I'm retired as a referee, so I don't miss anything. I actually see it all.
How does
you?
Go
ahead,
Tony.
HK. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you as a retired referee, do you watch it differently now? Do you take in the product differently now? Are you more critical?
At times, because now doing the shows that I do and an analyst, I'm trying to look at it from from a business standpoint, but at the same time, I try to watch. It's weird. I try to use two different lenses. I try to watch it from an analytics point of view, and also I try to sit back and be a fan at the same time. It's not easy to juggle, especially like tonight. After here, I'm going to be recording something tonight for one of my shows, and it's kind of like, all right, I just want to sit back and take it easy and see what's going on. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, nah, I got to write down notes here. Oh, that wasn't it. You know what I mean?
It's just hard not to pull yourself into that like analytical, critical thinking while you're taking it in.
Absolutely, especially with the officials, because I know there's been a lot of flack over the officiating in recent time. I don't know how long now, but anyways, the ref police are out there and they're going crazy. But it's not so much that I'll notice things that I don't think other people notice.
Okay, like what?
Whether it's something with positioning in the ring, certain tells they have with false finishes, which I don't like to give away, because when I do,
Glad you said that.
We used to do a show up here in Canada called Aftermath. It was on TV. It was a recap show and also a preview show on Sportsnet up here. You used to air it, WWE programming. And on the show, they did, I want to say it was 2019 when SummerSlam came up here to Toronto. And we went down as a show, interviewed some of the guys, and then we were sitting out in the audience. I was sitting beside the producer, and someone was in the ring and match was going on. He goes, "Oh, I thought that was it." And I was like, "Nah, no." He goes, "Yeah, what? Well, you know what the finish is." And I'm not, no, I don't know what the finish is. I'm not in the back. I have no idea. So he says, "Oh, then what is it?" I said, I just knew. Happened again. He says, "Come on, you didn't even flinch. What's going on?" I said, "Okay, the referee has a tell that I've noticed on false finishes. It's something different." And he says, "Well, what is it?" I said, I don't want to tell you. He says, "Why?" He says, "Because if I tell you, you're going to see it and then you won't be able to unsee it. So it's going to ruin everything for you going forward." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Oh, come on. No way. He's killing BS. No way. That's not going to happen." I said, "I'm telling you." So he bugged me for like 5 minutes to tell him. I said, "Okay, I warned you." And I told him what it was. And next time it happened was, "Damn it. Why did you tell me?" You begged me for half an hour. I'm like, what the heck?
Is it aggravating to you watching like today's product, whether it be AEW or WWE, how the rules seemingly they matter less and less as time goes on? Because I mean, I fancy myself a little bit more of a purist, as I think the rest of the guys do, and like the rules have to matter. And it seems so often now that they don't. When the rules don't matter, there's no reason for anybody to care, or there's no reason for the heel to break the rules because nothing's being enforced. I mean, is that from your perspective, as somebody that was at the height of the profession, is that an aggravating thing for you?
It seems like over time the rules have been laxed a little bit, and that's putting it mildly, especially in some cases. I mean, and it's not just AEW. AEW is the biggest offender, in my opinion. And I'm not just picking on these guys because I'm hating. I'm just pointing out the obvious, in my opinion. Happens in WWE too, but not to that extent. You know what I mean? They are laxed on some of the stuff. And when I do it, I sometimes buzz some of my friends and go, "Hey guys, what's up with that?" He's saying, "Hey, we're just doing what we're told to do." And I said, and that's the thing too. In AEW, they're just following orders for the most part. The only part that I hold the referees in AEW to task, that is, I think, on them, is them overtly trying to get noticed on television.
Wow. All right.
That annoys me more than the inconsistencies with the rules and enforcing them, because I was always taught, and I always, when I, instruct other young referees, you are not the show. This isn't about you. This isn't about getting your face on television and showing, hey, look at me, I'm here. You know what your job is? To sit in the background, be invisible, help be that conduit for the talent to tell their story in the ring, and don't be noticed until you need to be noticed, whether it's the finish or some spot, whatever's going on. Other than that, just get out of the way. I've seen like guys running spots across the ring. They're running from corner to corner and the referee's moving in close. I'm like, they're going to get run over or trip one of the guys and they're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in the ring, the smallest little thing, what we saw with Liv Morgan the other week.
Yeah.
You saw that and went, how does somebody get hurt? It's because every time you step in there, the smallest little thing they can get hurt on. I know I hate it, cliche, but it's not ballet.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was Tommy Young that said the best referees are the ones you don't know are there. So
Mm-hmm. I love Tommy. He was the first referee I noticed, because I tried to pay attention to all of it. But, he would come up to Toronto before WWF took over the territory. They would use a lot of talent from Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. So Tommy would come up and referee. And we got Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling on television here from one of the Buffalo affiliates. And I was like, I like that referee.
How do you feel? And I know we've seen it not really often, but it has happened in the past year where somebody won't kick out and the referee will stop the count because they know what the finish is, instead of just following the rules and plowing through. Like, what's your thoughts on situations like that? Should the referee try to make a judgment call and say like, oh, there was a kick out or a shoulder lifted, or plow through, hey, sorry, you didn't kick out?
It's hard to say, because everyone is situational. Every situation is different. The problem with that is the referee in the ring has a split second to make a decision. That's the problem. And, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, especially in today's day and age where the audience out there are looking for something to pick on. They will notice it, and all of a sudden somebody gets a lot of heat for it. Now, whether it's, getting heat from the office in the back, getting heat from the boys, usually, I don't know what the language parameters are here, but crap falls downhill, right?
You can say whatever you want. We're good.
Yeah. I don't swear a lot. I'm Canadian. I fudge it. I fudge a lot. But again, when the old regime was there and when I was there, we were told and we were instructed, if they don't kick out, you count. Doesn't matter what the finish is. If they don't kick out, you count, because it makes you look bad and it ruins all your authority. And that falls on them. So I had little things that I would do in the ring, especially when it looked like it was coming close. I would count loud, first of all. And I was known for hitting the canvas pretty hard. I really made a noise. But sometimes when you jump down on the canvas, you make a noise when it's not the count. Like when you're landing on the canvas, positioning yourself, sometimes they think that's one, and they'll kick out earlier, but that's not applying to here. But I always try to position myself where they could see me, and I try to make eye contact with the person that's, being pinned. Gotcha. And I would count 1, 2, and if it looks close, I'll even say it, kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. A couple of years ago, we had Kevin Keenan on, and he said all the time he would yell his count, and he would always tell him, kick out, get up, we're at 2. Like just to get that alert. He's like, because I know that especially in his situation, that he would be the one taking the heat. So
right.
He don't want to put anybody in that spot, making sure that they kicked up. Another thing that HK and I actually talked about last week, which is getting pretty egregious. A wrestler going for a cover, and the guy underneath will not kick out. It's more like the wrestler on top gets up on a 2.5 and just kind of like stops the cover.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that sticks in your craw quite a bit. I've seen that a lot lately.
That and yes, that one does stick in my craw a little bit. And the other one that kills me is in tag matches when someone comes in to make the save. Just tapping someone on the back does not break up a pin because the guy's still being pinned.
Yeah, yank them off.
Yeah. Yank them off, push them off, kick them off, whatever. Just walking in and going dink. That's breaking up a pin. Don't get me started on other stuff too, like mounted punches and stuff like that. Oh my god! No, come on. Like Kevin Nash brought it up not too long ago, where he said guys get down there and they get on top of somebody and they're throwing like rapid fire punches and they look like shit.
Yep.
You know, if you take your time and you got someone down, when you're in like a real situation like that, you throw a couple of good ones that look good, and some might sneak in and be a little snug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you always apologize before you throw it. Sorry. You know what I mean?
No, but it makes sense. Like I even remember the Hardys were good for that years ago. Like somebody gives you your back and it's just like flurries instead of like just laying in a couple of good shots. I get that.
Watch Sheamus. He'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Gunther, guys that like, hey, you know what? Again, you're going to feel it. It's not like anything else you're not going to feel. I mean, you land on the canvas, you feel it. Wherever you fall, you're going to feel it. It's just another blow, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, like there's ways where you make it look good and you don't have to throw a complete flurry of them, you know, and like just lay them in a bit. You know, you're not out to hurt the guy, but
no,
let the people know that you're hitting them, you know?
Right.
Now I gotta ask because it's a question from Tropic Al, and he wanted to know. He's a lot like us. We watched you over the years. You worked with the big times through some of the greatest eras. Was there anybody when you saw that you were working their match, you're like, oh, this is not one I want? Like, was there anybody that you maybe they were more difficult to call their matches that stick out in your mind?
I mean, there's a few, and I hate calling them out because I like them. Like I'll mention, sorry, Dalit, but the great Khali.
Okay.
I liked him. It's just that sometimes you have to say things 2 or 3 times before he picked up on it.
Okay. Was that just language barrier more than anything?
I will attribute it to that, but at the same time, sometimes he's trying to think of what he's supposed to do next, and you're trying to tell him, and sometimes he's trying to process while you're talking to him, so he's not really hearing you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Overthinking what's going on.
Yes.
Gotcha. And on the flip side of that, was there? I mean, there had to be a handful of guys you couldn't wait to work the match.
Oh, pick them.
Yeah,
pick them. I mean, like, God bless Eddie. Eddie was like, I'd have a match with Eddie, and I'd say, "Okay, Eddie, what's going on tonight?" He says, "Frog splash." Okay. Anything else? No, that's it. You'll know the rest when you see it. Okay.
That's fantastic. And I'm guessing that, I mean, you had your fair share of bumps along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was it the worst bump you took? You got anything in the holster for that? The one you remember the most?
One I remember the most. I've taken ones where I probably should have got hurt and didn't.
Okay.
Like WrestleMania 24, I took the big boot from the Undertaker, and I didn't. What happened was I didn't want to see it coming, because what your automatic reaction is. If you watch it coming in, you're going to flinch, or make even a slight nudge and move. So I knew it was coming from this way, so I just kept my eyes focused that way.
Yeah.
And I figured it's WrestleMania, it's the main event. Take my head off. I don't care. I could use a vacation anyways if it happens. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Bam. But I felt it, but it didn't hurt because I was so amped up. I was laying there on the canvas, just in my mind was going, stay down, don't move, stay down, don't move, because the adrenaline's rushing.
Yeah.
It's almost incredible, to describe.
Now, is there because I think there's definitely an art to what what officials do in the ring, especially when you're talking about just a tag team match or a one-on-one. Now, when you get into the gimmick matches, is there one that there's a little bit more craft to when you get into those type of matches, whether it be, I mean, a ladder match is super easy, but you're out there, or a
Right.
cage match, or I mean, what comes to your mind there?
Those type of matches, any match where the referee is on the outside while the match is going on the inside, is difficult because it becomes a challenge now, passing times, passing messages, and stuff like that, because now you have to wait till somebody sells towards you, so you can like pass that message on. And it's especially in like a ladder match type situation, or a TLC match, someone could take a big bump and you could slide in like you're checking on them, which you are as well.
Right,
but at the same time, while you're checking on them, going, "Hey, are you okay? You still got 6 to go." Or, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Man, interesting.
I see. I know you mentioned Eddie Guerrero. I see you've got a couple of autographs and placards on the wall there.
Yeah.
I see you've got a foam Brahma bull behind you too.
Oh yeah.
Are you much of a collector? And what's your favorite piece, if you are?
I'm not like a collector, but I have certain pieces, like the WrestleMania one of Eddie that the office sent us, and this one here was a personal one that I had signed by him. I don't have very many things signed by any of the talent, but that one I got signed. I've got a poster signed by The Rock over there from our Malaysia tour, and actually the one item that I have that I will not get rid of for the life of me is I want to say it was 1996, somewhere around there. It was late 90s, where in Montreal, Quebec, Owen Hart had a boxing match with Ray Rougeau.
Wow.
So it was like contested like a legit boxing match. So they had rounds, the whole bit. It was a 5-round match. It didn't go 5 rounds. But I have the round card that says round 5 on it, signed by Owen, and also George Savallo, who is the corner man for Owen. He was a Canadian heavyweight boxing champion.
Wow.
Which was kind of cool. So I've got that. And I just did a WrestleCon in Gatineau, Quebec, which is not far from Montreal. And Ray Rougeau was there, and I wanted to bring it with me to get it signed by him as well. And I forgot. I'm like, how did I forget this? Too many ref bumps, I guess. I don't know.
You mentioned tour of Malaysia, man. Is there? I mean, obviously you toured the world, being an official there. Is there any stories from any of your tours that when you think of, you just automatically laugh?
I could laugh now.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Because we did, we were doing a tour. We were on the West Coast, and then we were chartering over to Australia. And this plane that they chartered, I don't know who booked this plane, but it looked like something from the movie Airplane. I mean, and we had these pilots that were like Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau flying the plane. But I will say this: thank God it was them, because their experience actually probably saved us. Because the way we had to fly over, we stopped in Anchorage to refuel. I don't get it. We were on the West Coast, so we had to fly up to come back down. So as we're coming down the coast of Russia, we had to stop in this place. I believe the pronunciation is Petrolovsk, Russia, and refuel at an army base. And as we were trying to land, there was a violent storm outside, snowstorm, that the plane was shaking ridiculous. I mean, this was the real plane ride from hell. Forget the other story. So as we're coming down, this is going up and down and sideways and stuff like that. And all of a sudden he aborts the landing attempt and just goes back up. And then he circles around to try again. And the same thing. Now Big Show was in the seat just over from me on the other side. His seat snaps right into Brian Hebner's lap. Hebner's screaming, "Get off me, get up." And he can't, because, the seat snapped. Anyway, we go in for another landing attempt. Plane takes off and goes up again. Comes in for a third one after, again, more violent shaking, and everybody looking at Ric Flair, because he had already been in a plane crash. So everybody was looking at him to see if he was nervous. We finally land. We get on the ground. Everybody's like, thank God. Everybody's doing whatever, praying to whatever God they believe in. And all of a sudden, these Russian military guys board the plane with weapons, stuff like that. We thought they were just escorting us or whatever. They told us, no, we can't get off the plane. We're just going to refuel and leave. And we're like, we're going to actually take off in this thing? You know? Yeah. Needless to say, we made it, but still, it was terrifying. It was terrifying, man.
Man, I was wondering if that was the connection. I know Big Show, he told a story there was an old WWE Storytime show, and he tells a story very similar to that. And I'm wondering if that's the connection there.
It might be it. It might be it. Actually, and then coming back, we had some engine trouble, and we had to stop in Adelaide, and there was a bunch of shenanigans that went down, and oh my God. Anyways, I could write a book. You see what I did there?
So, we hear a lot about like wrestlers ribbing. Mm-hmm. Do referees, will they step into that arena, or do you get to rib the other referees, or is there like an unspoken like not you rib each other, just not the wrestlers?
No, mostly we ribbed each other. The referees would rib each other, and it depending on who it was and how close your relationship was with the boys. Yeah, you can pull a little rib on them, but you wouldn't get too carried away. Yeah.
And you yourself, you a master of the ribbing?
No, I kind of stayed away from that, because if you rib somebody, guess what?
It's coming back.
It's coming back on you. And this was a situation where a lot of times you wouldn't have to rib somebody, and guess what? They'd get you because they said, he ain't going to do anything anyway. So
is there anybody like in the amongst the referees that you'd worked with that people would be surprised at their talent when it comes to ribbing?
Oh, let me think back. It wasn't very prevalent. That's the thing with the referees. It wasn't very prevalent. It was more, verbal banter back and forth. And we just like, you know what I mean? Just take shots at each other, but playful shots at each other. Unless it was Chimmel, who I was always serious with. I told him what I thought. I got stuck riding with him for over almost 2 decades. So what the heck?
Wow. 2 decades with Chimmel, huh?
Yeah, him in the passenger seat, me driving, because I am the worst passenger in the world. I cannot just sit there for 3-4 hours while someone else is driving. I'm the worst side seat driver in the world.
Just speed up, slow down.
Oh yeah. Hey, watch the road. Watch the road. Jeez,
they go, what the fuck do you think they're watching?
I know, but I can't just sit there. You know what I mean? I have to have the wheel. I have to have a cigarette. I have to have control of the radio. My Pepsi. That was it. Ask Chimmel. If you ever talk to Chimmel, ask him. Marlboro Lights, Pepsi, and those cheesy puffs.
All right.
Like the Cheetos cheesy puffs.
That's
all
awesome.
day long. Yeah. Smoking orange cigarettes by the time they were done with all that orange stuff on my fingers. I just feel bad because I would fling them out the window and some animal probably went by. Oh, that looks delicious.
Now you worked through again some of the greatest eras of wrestling. What was the most rewarding time period for you personally to be there?
Probably the mid 2000s, because that was a period where, how they say as far as wrestlers go, it takes them several years for them to get it. It's the same way with referees, in my opinion, and for me especially. As much as I was comfortable doing what I was doing, it wasn't until I want to even say 2003, 2002, where I really said to myself, you know what? Now that I'm been sitting there listening to these guys explain things in the locker room, it really started to click then in what my role needed to be for them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, focus on this. This is what I need to do. And also I learned that as much as I thought I knew, you never know it all. Yeah. And even to this day, every once in a while, I'll watch a match and I'll go, oh, okay. Maybe I should have done something like that.
Ignore the count. Let them all be in the ring at the same time.
Well, not that one. Not that one. Right.
Make yourself known to everyone in the arena.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just say, I'm going to stand. Ring the bell. Cue the Benny Hill music.
Jimmy, tell us a little bit about Huge Pop Radio.
Oh, my buddy Donnie De Silva. It started in September of last year, and during the summer, he reached out to me. He says, we came up with this idea. He says, how do you feel about doing a radio show? I said, yeah. What were you thinking? He says, no, it'd just be like 1 hour radio show. We'll have guests on. We'll talk about everything. We'll kind of try to make it conversational as opposed to everybody, especially when we have interviews, we don't do okay, let's do his Wikipedia page and see what he's got there and just rifle that off. So what Donnie does, which he's really great at, he's a great interviewer, by the way, but at the same time, he's also great at his introductions. So he gets all that Wikipedia stuff done in the introduction.
Nice.
So the rest of the interview is all stuff that they normally don't talk about. So that's really good.
You guys don't like to go like, hey, where did you train? How'd you get into the business?
No. Who was your first match? I mean, it's right there, stuff like that. No, we like to keep it light. We kept conversational. A lot of the times it's people we know, because Donnie's been in the industry since about 96 or so. He's been a booker and trainer up here. Actually even trained a little bit under Waldo Von Erich, believe it or not.
Wow.
Of all people. Wow. Yeah. And he realized quickly that bumping is not good for a 6'7" guy. So, but he's really, really smart about the business, really knows what he's talking about. And we have a lot of fun with it. And just, like I said, it's like two guys talking wrestling, and Lincoln Allen, who's our producer. He's also an indie worker as well. So, we have some good conversations on there. I love doing that. And also, don't forget Huge Reffing It Up as well. Yeah. With Brian Hebner and Daniel Spencer, who's the lead official in TNA. We have a good time. I'll give RJ a shout out too. Why not? He's our producer there. Got to give the guy who runs the board a shout out, or else he can just clip your mic at any time, So, hey, how come you didn't mention me there? Click.
Oh shit!
No, we've found that it's a lot of fun, and we like to keep things light too. That's why I'm sure you noticed when you jumped in, it's like just firing right in. We try to treat everybody like they're an old friend when they come on the show.
No, I love that. That's great, man. This is fun. I love this.
Is there another book in the works? I know your book's been around for quite a bit, still available on Amazon. You can get that on the Kindle if you want to take it with you, if you don't like carrying around a book. Anything else from Jimmy Korderas? You itching to write another one?
Well, it's been thrown out there. My wife is trying to get me to sit down and write it, but trying to get me to sit down is like, you know what I mean? It's so weird because all those years of traveling, I finally get home and I'm just like, no, now I could relax. I could take it easy. And first thing I said, okay, hon, what do you want to do? She goes, hey, let's go to Europe. Oh, great. I'm back on a plane. And you know what I mean?
Can't you just get a pack of squares, some cheese balls and a Pepsi, write the book?
Yeah. Nah. Well, I could do that, but I gave up the Marley Lights a long time ago.
Okay. Well, just cheese balls and Pepsi then.
Yeah, I can't get rid of the cheese balls. That's not happening.
I'm with you on that one.
Well, Jimmy, I know. Brendan actually told me that you got a hard out at 8:00, so we don't want to keep it too long.
I can go a few more minutes. What the hell?
Okay, sounds good.
Well, we could do 8:05.
On Turner time, baby. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, see? Yeah, exactly. Well, I just heard from the back that we're going to stay on here until my time is up. Well, that didn't come off too good, did it? I got to watch how I say things,
Well, let me ask you. I know it's kind of a cliche question, but what made you decide when wrestling presented itself to you that you wanted to be the guy in the stripes, that you wanted to be the referee? Like, what led you toward that?
To be honest with you, I didn't know I wanted to be a referee. I just wanted to be a part of the wrestling business in some form or fashion. I mean, obviously that thought goes in your head too. You know what? I wonder if I could be a wrestler. But watching the matches as close as I did, because they used to run Maple Leaf Gardens here in Toronto every 3 weeks. I sat second row ringside right beside the entryway. They had this ramp there where everybody.
Oh yeah, I
walked out.
remember that. Yeah, Maple
Yeah.
Leaf Gardens, absolutely.
Yeah, and I sat second row ringside right there, watching it up close, and I said, "Oh no, that looks like it hurts too much. I don't think so. Nah, that ain't going to be for me." But I wanted to be a part of the business some form or fashion. And when I started working for Jack Tunney, running just errands and all that stuff, whatever needed to be done, here, throw me the keys to his car, go pick up so-and-so from the airport, whatever, Then after about a little over a year of just being around and hanging around and being in the locker room with the guys, which was really cool, they accepted me. Pat Patterson said to Jack, he says, "Hey, Jack, we got the kid here. He's waiting for something to do. He's just hanging out, whatever. Why don't we use him? We'll make him a referee during the shows, so he doesn't have to just sit there and do nothing." And Jack says to him, "Well, do you want to smarten him up?" And Pat says to him, "Jack, he's sitting in the locker room with the boys. He's already kind of getting a clue what's going on here." So Pat told me to get all the ref gear, the black shoes, black pants, blue shirt, black bow tie, carry it with me at all times. And then I got thrown to the Wolves one day at a house show, and they said, "Here, you're reffing this match. SD Jones versus the Red Demon," who is Jose Luis Rivera. And that was it. It started there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What was it like? What was it like working Toronto with Jack Tunney?
Oh, I love Jack. Jack was very stoic. Him and Gorilla Monsoon were kind of the same cloth. Just big burly guys who, cared. He looked after the guys a lot. Jack did look after the guys. Like, for example, every show here in Toronto had he would make sure that everybody had rooms at the old Howard Johnson's, and he'd rent a suite afterwards because he'd rather fill it with beer and wine because he'd rather have the boys up there drinking than in the bar potentially causing a ruckus.
No, it's great to hear because, watching wrestling as a young fan, Jack Tunney was like the president, and you always heard that he ran Toronto. It was his territory. Then he got in with Vince and Pat and all them. Mm-hmm. So no, it's interesting to hear what he was like. I mean, like my biggest moments with Jack Tunney was like announcing the WrestleMania 4 tournament or, suspending Danny Davis.
Right. Well, I'm glad he did that. Let's put it.
I mean, Davis was he was a pretty good wrestler. I mean, for the spot they put him in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He was an okay wrestler. He's a worse referee though, but no, I'm kidding. Danny was fine. Danny was good. But that was the way it was back then. A lot of times, a lot of the referees were guys who were trained wrestlers and actually worked as wrestlers. See, like Danny Davis, Mr. X.
Yep.
Nick Patrick. Yeah.
Nick Patrick worked. Mickey Henson was a worker. Scott Armstrong, a lot of them. Even before that, you look at old school guys like, if I'm not mistaken, Gilberto Roman was also a worker.
Yeah.
That was kind of almost like a prerequisite back then.
Yeah. You got to skirt the system there, Jimmy.
Yeah. Yep. Timing was right for me. Let's put it that way.
Quite a few less bumps on that bump card.
Yeah, still felt every one of them though.
Man, are you guys getting the question in before Jimmy leaves?
Yeah. So, Jimmy,
we gotta ask him.
There's one question we ask every single guest, no matter who that comes on.
Okay.
It's when was the last time you shit your pants?
Oh. Good Lord. I've probably on that flight I described. Yeah, and then you gotta go and clean up in those little tiny stall bathrooms in the back. Not good. Not good.
It's funny you mentioned that. The one wizard who's not here tonight actually soiled himself while he was at work. And he went off to a porta potty to clean his drawers, and he actually salvaged the drawers and brought them home.
You throw them out, right, Jimmy? You throw.
No. You 86 those suckers. No. That's what are you gonna do? You gonna put them in a little baggie and say, "Oh yeah, I didn't blow a hole in these, so they're still okay." No. Bye
I
bye.
didn't blow a hole in these.
Yeah, that's going down.
I just feel sorry for the person who has to clean up in the bathroom afterwards. That's all. Because you know what, you can't flush those things because you'll clog the system. So you got to. Anyway,
Gotta tuck them away.
yeah.
Tuck 'em away.
Yeah.
Man.
See, this is educational for everybody listening here. Yeah.
Right. And I gotta ask one on top of that since we I don't
Oh
know.
no, we're piling on now.
I know you got to go, but that wizard that isn't here that does his laundry in the porta john. He also he shits with the door open. Now you wouldn't do that, would you, Jimmy? You close the door behind you when you're going into the bathroom, correct?
I thought that was like. I thought that was no question there. I didn't understand that. Now it's different when you're on an airplane and you want to keep people away. And you want to scare the stewardess or something like that. But then again, you're opening yourself up to a lawsuit. So
you're not going to get many drinks that way either.
No.
Yeah.
They're not coming by with the cart.
Jimmy, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Anything you want to plug before we let you get out of here?
No, I think we did it all with the shows and stuff like that. And I appreciate you guys having me on. This was a lot of fun, man. See, I like this kind of stuff as opposed to the other stuff. So this was a blast, man. Appreciate it.
Well, listen, Jimmy, anytime you want to come back, just hit us up. Let us know. Anything you want to plug, even if you want to just shoot the shit, we're happy to have you back, brother.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. I will be back after this. I'll be back, man.
Great to hear, Jimmy.
Awesome. Maybe you could berate Double T too when he comes back and ask him why he shits with the door open.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that'll be the first thing I talk about. That's what I mean, like, oh man, never mind. We'll save it for the next time.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Thanks,
All right.
Jimmy. Have a great night, brother.
You too. Take care, guys.